Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 25 of the overnight feed recaps for Big Brother season 27. A good Saturday to y'all. All right, pretty incredible yesterday. Quite a few changes we had that we need to talk about. Now, first of all, Riley had won the HOH. He had ideas about who he wanted to put on the block, was intending to put up Morgan and Mickey and Ashley. But then the feeds go down throughout most of the night into the early morning. Feeds were down until about 5 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. When the feeds come back, we discover that Mickey has chosen to try to take over the HOH. Remember, she had that special power. She's going to try to take it over. She ends up winning the HOH takeover after Riley incorrectly guesses that Ashley is the person who had the secret power. Apparently helped along by Ashley and Morgan maybe acting a little bit as they talk to him during their interrogations. So now Mickey has taken over Riley's HOH. Riley's out the door. Not too happy about it. Now, this was all, we didn't get to see it. It was all hidden. The feeds were down, but apparently Riley, not a happy camper at losing his HOH. And I got to say, I understand being a little upset about it, but apparently he took it to the next level, really started yelling at Morgan and Mickey, calling them liars and just not at all happy. He's talked before, said, "Oh, you haven't seen the upset Riley." Well, apparently, they got to see the upset Riley yesterday, and I'm sure we'll get to see it as part of the upcoming episode. So, Riley's out the door. Well, not so to speak. Riley's still in the house. Riley is not HOH, doesn't get to have a little quality time in the HOH bed with whoever he may invite to come up there with him. Instead, it's Mickey taking over the HOH this week. And I guarantee her nom picks are a lot different than Riley's picks are. So, yeah, it's God, what an incredible couple hours. All right, let's start with the live feeds right after Mickey's room reveal. The house guest, because this all happened in the middle of the night, the house guests were allowed to sleep till noon or so. It was a late day. Mickey apparently eventually got her room reveal. We didn't get to see it again, but she got her room reveal. Her mother was getting married, so she had a letter from her mother, which was very nice to have. But we get the feeds back right after that has all happened. Riley is staying in the HOH room, talking to Mickey. Very heartfelt conversation in some ways. They're kind of spinning each other along as well, but certainly I think there's some emotions at play that they were trying to work through. Obviously, Riley not happy, Mickey worried about Riley not happy, and so they have to talk all of this out. Riley is crying. He's having an absolute breakdown saying, "I am so sorry for yelling. That's not me. I understand it's the game, but it hurt. It hit me so hard. And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I would never do that. That's not who I am." And I think he was serious about it. I think he was feeling bad, realizing he may have pushed it beyond where it needed to be pushed. So he's crying, talking about how sorry he is. Mickey is saying that she was worried what he might do during that time, just the way he was yelling and all of that. Also worried that she's saying, "Look, it wasn't anything against you, but I was worried about my position in the game, what you might do, not just then, but also with noms and all of that. And it's nothing personal." And she's saying, "Look, the other thing too, I had to keep it a secret. I couldn't tell anyone. That was the way this twist worked." She said, "But beyond that, I've always been open and honest with you with everything I've done, and I want to keep that. But it's just the game, Riley. It's just the game." And he's understanding that as well. He's saying, "I get it. If you could have just let me know or something, so it wasn't quite a shock and all, but I get it, I guess, and all." She's saying, "Look," or he's telling her, saying, "You weren't my target. If I was putting up noms, you were not going to be my target. I hadn't decided on who the nominations were going to be yet." Wrong. He knew exactly who it was going to be, but he's not telling her that. She is saying that Riley's not her target. Well, not her primary target anyway. He could be that before then. We'll see how he does with campaigning and such. But she's saying, "Look, you're not my target." She said, and she had it's pretty brilliant the way she phrased it. She said, "Look, you're up there only because Keanu is the big target, and we need someone who can beat Keanu and keep him on the block. We can't let him win Veto again. You just prove that you can kick his rear end. So, Riley, I picked you just because I need someone strong up there. Zach can't do it. No one else can. You're the one, Riley. you're going to be my champion, Riley. So she is spinning. I think it was a good move on her part. She's spinning it that we need you up there. It's nothing personal. You're not the target. You're just the person we need up there to make sure that Keanu goes home. And Riley's buying into it. I absolutely think. She also tells him, she says, look, I'm guaranteeing that you're not going home this week. That's not what you're up there for. I'm not so sure about that. He may not be the primary target, but people would perhaps not be so upset if he went home either. Some people. We'll see if Riley has a campaign mode that he can kick into or not. It needs to be determined, but we'll find out. But they have a long conversation, probably 45 minutes, so eventually shut it down with hugging each other, saying "I love you" to each other, and better relationship than it was before. All right, Riley immediately goes over downstairs, is passing this conversation on to Kat and Vince, and telling them, saying, look, she laid it out. My job is to keep Keanu on the block. That's why I'm up there. So yeah, I'm doing her a favor, and she's doing the house a favor by putting me up there just to go after Keanu. So that's what he's telling Vince and Kat. Mickey, meanwhile, is telling everything to Morgan that just went down, including that, yeah, Keanu's my main target this week. Well, Morgan's happy to hear that, right? She's saying, yeah, but Keanu's who has to go. She's saying now the noms could be, and what I'm thinking of is Keanu and Riley and Catherine. There is talk that if Kat was to go on the block, Riley will come over to their side. Would he, if they're responsible for Kat going out the door, would Riley then say, I'm hanging with y'all? I'm not sure that he's quite ready to do that. But they're thinking put Keanu up there as the main target, Riley to try to keep Keanu on the block. Worst comes to worst, we'll send Kat out the door. And if that happens, Riley comes over and joins our happy side of the house. All right, Morgan is warning Mickey, though. She said, look, Jimmy has already told me that Riley had told him if Kat goes on the block, Riley is going to raise hell. So if Riley's on the block, whatever, he knows he may go on the block. Sounds like based on what you told him. But if Kat goes on the block, that may be a whole different level of being upset. So just keep that in mind, Mickey. So they do have that conversation. They're both worried about Jimmy, that he's just, and we'll hear about this a little bit later. Jimmy's having too many conversations, too many people. They're worried about Jimmy, but they decide that he can't be the priority right now. They got to get Keanu out, some other people. Jimmy's a fight for another point on down the road. Mickey is saying that she told Kelly, because Morgan kind of questions, say, hey, you got Kat up there, not Kelly. What's that? She said, I'll support you, whatever you do. But Kelly's out there as well. And Mickey said, well, look, I told Kelly that I wouldn't put her up because this is her birthday week. Shades of Jasmine here. She said, I wouldn't put Kelly up because it's her birthday week. And she told me that she would start distancing herself from Keanu as well. And Morgan says, well, she's out there whispering to Keanu right now, but I'll support you no matter what. But yeah, so Kelly's birthday week could potentially save her from being on the block. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. All right. We've got Keanu and Mickey talking to each other. Keanu comes up. I won't even call it a campaign pitch because he knows the writing on the wall. He says, look, I know I'm going on the block. I'm not up here trying to convince you otherwise. I'll just, another day on the block, another week on the block, I'll have to fight, get myself off. So I'm not begging you to pull me off. But he does say that he calls it blockitis. He said, it's like the plague. No one wants to hang around with me. No one wants to talk to me. Everybody is shunning me. I'm starting to feel sorry for Keanu. Now, his gameplay is just, it leaves something to be said. But as a person, it's got to be rough. I've been watching these feeds. Every time Keanu walks into a room, people all either get quiet or they leave the room. It's tough. It's tough to watch someone who's just so obviously being blackballed by everyone in his house, and everyone trying to pull themselves away from him, including Kelly, apparently. So, yeah, he's saying, look, I know you're going to put me up. I'm just feeling bad that no one will even talk to me at this point. All right, we've got Ashley and Mickey talking a little bit, touching bases after all of this. Ashley seemed to be pushing to maybe go after Vince. She feels like Vince is, I mean, remember, Vince wants to go after Ashley. because he put her up week one, and she knows that. So she's kind of pushing that. Hey, Vince is out there if we wanted to use him as a target. But they agree that that's probably a little premature. Can't go after Vince just yet. They got bigger targets in this house, Keanu. And Mickey is saying that, look, here's the thing. Riley is because I think Ashley says something about Riley being so upset with them, and she says, "No, I worked it out with Riley. Riley's gonna probably work with us after this is all said and done. He's on board. I've let him know that he's there to make sure that Keanu goes home. He doesn't like Keanu. He's all on board. He'll probably be working with us once this week is over." We'll see about that. Now, after Ashley's kind of gotten shut down a little bit on going after Vince, she seems to be pushing for Riley as a main target. I think she's just not convinced that they haven't, with all the yelling that took place and all of that they aren't still the primary targets for Ashley. And so perhaps a little bit fear-based, Ashley seems to be perfectly happy with Riley going home this week. All right, we've got Mickey talking to Kelly again. Remember, she said she wasn't going to put her up on her birthday week. Well, now she's kind of hinting to Kelly that, well, if you do go on the block, just know it's not because we're going after you. It's just because you could win a comp and keep Keanu, and it wouldn't be anything personal at all. And Kelly's saying, "Look, if she does say at least that I'd really prefer not to go on the block, but but if you do," she then has to revert to her Kelly ways, and she says, I would volunteer to go up, or I would rather go up in Riley's place before you put Riley up. So if you need me to go up, then sure, yeah, that's okay too. I think she's talking in Riley's place, not next to Riley, but she makes the offer. But she also says that if she doesn't get put up, she won't change the noms if she wins veto. So she's on board to send Keanu out the door. She wouldn't use it to pull him off or anything like that. Trying to give some arguments to Mickey on why she should not go on the block this week. All right, feeds were down. We apparently do have the nominations, and when they come back, we learned that the new nominations for this week are Keanu, no surprise there. Riley, no surprise there. And Kelly. Yes, Kelly, happy birthday to you, my friend. So much for Kelly's birthday, but at least you got a little bit of warning ahead of time. And so much for Morgan's advice that don't put Keanu up as a primary anymore. Put him up as a backdoor. She pushed that. Morgan had pushed it. Mickey and Ashley seemed to be on board. But with Mickey telling Riley he's there just to make sure Keanu doesn't win veto, suddenly if Keanu's not on there in the first place, it's going to hurt that argument with Riley. So at the end of the day, Keanu, Riley, and Kelly are on the block. Man, Keanu and Kelly, have we heard those names on the block before? Yeah, same week, just same names, different week. So yeah, we'll see. And now Will ought to be happy. Finally, Will gets a break. So Will's gone. Riley's on the block along with the perpetual targets, Keanu and Kelly. All right, we got Lauren and Will talking. They feel like Riley is probably not going anywhere. They feel like Riley could win the votes against anyone that he's on the block next to. Would he? I'm not sure. Cat, for example. Now I know that a lot of the ladies would love to see Cat out the door. I don't know about the other side or not, but they're feeling like Riley probably is a pawn this week, that he could win votes against everyone. I think a lot of it depends on how Riley plays the game over the next few days. Does he start trying to build relationships and make people feel for him and want to work with him, or does he pull himself in and just talk to no one but Cat, and that's not going to help his game. We'll find out over the next few days. Of course, we got a veto ceremony competition today, so that may short circuit some of this conversation as well. All right, we've got Riley talking to Jimmy. Riley's telling Jimmy not to use the veto on him if Jimmy wins because he doesn't want someone he cares about. And later we find out it's Cat. Like, we didn't know that already. But he says, look, I don't want you to use the veto on me if you win it, Jimmy, because then Cat would go up. He says, one, I don't want Cat to go up. Two, I don't want to force Mickey to have to make that kind of hard decision. Mickey's got him. Mickey apparently has him absolutely believing that he is just up there to fight for the cause and to get Keanu out of the house. And so he's saying, yeah, don't use it because it'll just maybe mean Riley goes up. I mean, that Cat goes up. And Jimmy says, look, I'm going to talk to Mickey. I'll do everything I can to make sure Cat is not being considered as a renom. Riley saying, please, anything you can do is appreciated, Jimmy. All right, we've got Morgan and Vince who have also said that they would leave the nominations the same. Could this be the first week of Big Brother season 27 where we don't have a renom opportunity to take place on a Monday? We'll see. All right, we've got Riley and Kat talking to each other. Riley's saying that he's going to win Veto. They talked a lot. This was in the bathroom, but then later they talked forever in the hammock in the backyard. That was not game talk. That was a whole lot of getting tattoos on lips and a whole lot of Riley professing how much he loves and cares for Kat, and Kat smiling and saying, "Oh, that's great, thank you." But this one actually a little bit game talk. Riley and Kat are talking. Riley's saying that he's going to win Veto on Saturday so that people know not to put him or Kat up anymore in the future. I'm going to win it so they know it doesn't do any good to put me up. So I'm going to make it happen. He says he's telling everyone, or he's going to tell everyone who actually is picked to play in the Veto, to not use it if they win it. Do not use it on me or anyone else. Leave the nominations the same. Kat is saying, yeah, I get that. She's saying, but I'm a little stressed out and nervous about playing the Veto. But if I'm picked to play and I win it, I'll use it on you and pull you off the block. And he is saying, don't do it. She said, I'll use it on you. And he said, don't do it. He said, if it's that saving you winning that Veto is for me to do, not you. He's saying, if you win it, don't use it on me. Now, his argument is that, look, I'm not there as the target. As long as Keanu stays on the block, it's okay if I'm on the block as well. So if you win it, don't use it. I'm happy to stay on the block as long as those two are there as targets as well. I should be good. He says, if I thought I was the main target, then maybe so. But in this case, don't do it. So that's his argument. I also think there's a little bit of a position that Riley wants to be the person to save Kat and not the person who is saved by Kat. A little machismo perhaps in there. I think it would just kill Riley to have the woman of his dreams having to save him in the game of Big Brother. Just a thought, just something to consider. All right, we've got Morgan and Mickey and Vince and Zach talking. And then I think Ashley comes in later and joins them as well. Morgan and Mickey are complaining about Jimmy. They're saying that he threw them under the bus in order to improve his relationship with Keanu, saying that Jimmy has been saying that telling everyone that Keanu created an alliance just to get out Morgan and Mickey. So they feel like Jimmy's kind of doing them a dirty the way he's talking about them as he works with some of his other relationships in this house. Morgan is saying that Jimmy thinks that he's got right now Lauren and Kat and Riley and Rachel and Keanu all on his side. So he's got votes, he's got supporters, and he's just not necessarily working with the ladies in this room as much as they would like him to work with. Mickey is saying that Keanu and Kelly and Kat are the next three out. That's who she wants out the door. There's a lot of talk about who they want in jury, who they don't want in jury. Well, if Keanu, Kelly, and Kat are out, that's 5 people. Typically, that's pre-jury in most seasons, right? They don't know if it's going to be a 7-person, 9-person, so they're still going back and forth. It doesn't matter. Don't worry as much. I mean, you've got to play jury. I get all that. But at this point, get out the people who you think are going to be the biggest threats to your game right now. But they're all talking about jury and everything else. But yeah, Jimmy's name certainly has been coming up a little bit more here lately from a lot of people that recognize that he's doing a lot of talking to a lot of people. All right. And then finally, we've got Vince outside by himself, playing a little pool, walking back and forth in the yard as he tends to do. He's saying that he really doubts that there are any live feeders, given that it's 2 a.m. Big Brother time. There's a few out there, Vince. But yeah, he's saying he doubts that anyone's out there even listening. But he's talking just to himself, to the cameras. He's saying he feels bad for Adrian. He's also saying that Keanu is a good day and that the house has just been treating him dirty for 25 days. He feels bad about that. He's saying that he's playing Rachel's game and that he's pretending to be starstruck every time he talks to her, stroking her ego, doing all of that. But he's not really starstruck. He's just doing that for her benefit because he knows that she'll appreciate that. He's worried about Jimmy and his game, and is Jimmy potentially manipulating Vince? Remember, they theoretically have a final too, but he's a little bit worried that Jimmy may be playing a lot of angles with a lot of people, and is he just being manipulated by Jimmy? He's talking about Morgan. He's saying, we kind of flirt back and forth and all. He says, but I've got a girlfriend. We agreed before I came in that if I needed to flirt a little bit, I could. He said, but I know where the line is, and I'm not crossing that line. He's talking about his girlfriend, how great she is. He's saying, she's not a night owl, so I know she's not watching, but she's incredible. I'm not crossing any lines whatsoever. So just kind of talking about a lot of the house guests while they're in the house or while everyone else is inside, most in bed, one or two getting ready for bed. But he's just talking about the other house guests while he's outside. And with that, everyone in bed by 3:30 or so, Big Brother time. We've got a veto competition today. So first of all, hopefully there are any major twists between 3:30 and say 5:30 or 6 this morning, because that's tough. I did all my recaps yesterday. I'm flying out of town. I get to the airport and find out the whole house blew up while the feeds were down. So hopefully we get a little more rest this time. But anyway, we do have the veto competition today. Uh, we'll see. Is Riley going to pull it out? Is he going to keep Keanu on the block? If Keanu wins this thing and pulls himself off, so it's Kelly versus Riley, how does that affect Riley's demeanor, especially knowing that Kelly seems like she's done pretty well on these blockbuster comps? I'm sure Riley's going to still feel confident, but if someone wins that veto, pulls himself off, what's Mickey going to do? If she puts up Cat next to Riley, oh, it could be it could be some interesting conversation. So we will find out. Veto competition today. I'll be off doing all kinds of things throughout the day. It's gonna be a fun weekend, but I'll be back tomorrow to give you all an update on how the veto comps went and what that means for the rest of the week. Guys, have a fantastic Saturday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.